Hello everyone, long time no talk. This is I think day 2 in the hospital. Just wanted to share with you guys my delicious gourmet lunch I got going on here. If I can turn the camera around. Oh, I don't know that I can do that. Well, the next clip will be my delicious gourmet lunch. But I got some vanilla pudding, vanilla ensure, crystal light, and tomato soup. Yum. Tomato soup, vanilla ensure, sugar-free vanilla pudding, and there's crystal light in that cup, and my tub of water. That's what it's looking like today for lunch. Hey guys, I did terrible with the whole vlogging the process, going to the hospital while I'm in the hospital thing. So that was my little bit of pictures and footage I was able to get. I hope you appreciated that anyway. But thank you for coming back. This is the week 1 update. So keep watching and we'll get right into this conversation. This is going to be the first update of my weight loss surgery journey, where if you haven't seen my previous video, I'll be talking about my weight loss journey as far as the surgery that I've had, and how that relates to my PCOS and my idiopathic intracranial hypertension. And if you don't know what those things are, again, please refer back to my last video. That'll kind of bring you up to speed as to who I am, why I'm here, why I'm making these videos, and why I even had surgery in the first place. But other than that, let's just get right started. So, quick update. I actually did not end up having VSG. When I made my previous video, that was my plan, was to have the vertical sleeve gastrectomy. When I went into my final appointment with my surgeon to sign the documents for him to be able to perform the procedure, we of course discussed it again, and you know, there was no shock there. He's been pretty strong on wanting me to do gastric bypass from the beginning, and I was pretty strong on the side of wanting to do the sleeve, just because I'm sure you've seen, if you're watching my video, I'm sure you've watched others where the sleeve is just more popular right now. I can't speak for anybody else, but for myself, I was interested because it does seem very straightforward and less cut, paste, stitch going on the inside of you. It's just cut it off, take it out, seal it up, and keep it moving, which to me sounds lower risk, in addition to the fact that some people see this as a negative. I saw it as a positive. Once your pouch heals, it does have the ability to stretch back out. So any kind of progress you make from there, whether you gain all or some of your weight back, or you're able to stay at your goal weight or lose even more, or whatever the case, is completely up to you. And I guess maybe the word would be evidence of the work that you put in and what you want to look like or feel like, or whatever your motivations are. And as I mentioned in my last video, I have never been a small person. I don't even know what that would look like. So I was drawn to that possibility in case I don't like the small version of myself and I want to be, I wouldn't say necessarily this big again, but you know, a little on the chunky side, because I'm comfortable there. That's what I'm comfortable with. But regardless, here nor there, through that conversation, final conversation with my surgeon prior to the procedure, we had, you know, that really hard conversation, and he just kind of reiterated his position again. And I don't know if I would say further explained, but maybe more frankly explained why he, you know, feels the way he does, which was definitely a wake-up call for me, and definitely one that I needed in retrospect. In the moment, I got super emotional. I did start crying, and I just couldn't believe what I was hearing. And, you know, again, I think I needed that. I think I needed to be called out for the mentality that I was having, because, you know, I was diagnosed with IIH back June 1st. It's now September that we're, you know, talking about surgery and like actually making the final decision. So that's a good amount of time. That's the whole summer and then some, to really, I don't want to say be lax, but low-key be lax and be like, oh, well, I'm feeling better now. I'm taking my medication and this is just a bonus. And I don't think I realized that that's kind of where my mind was going, where I was just like, okay, like, this is, you know, not as dire as I felt it was back in June when I first got that news. So I definitely needed him to check me in the way that he did. Like, don't forget why you're here. Don't forget why we're even having this conversation. Like, this is not a joke. This is very serious. And, you know, it's kind of, for lack of a better phrase, do or die for me. Not to say that I would die, but it's like, if this doesn't work, you know, I'm back in the same position I am now, potentially risking losing my vision all over again, which is why I was so passionate about getting this procedure done and just doing everything that I possibly could to put myself in the best situation to keep my vision. So yeah, like I said, I got emotional, but it was definitely, you know, the kick that I needed to be like, hey, wake up. Like, this is, you're not like everybody else. Like, you're not just here because, oh, I feel like getting weight loss surgery or whatever the case. Not to discredit anybody else's story, but just saying, like, it is dire. It is time sensitive. It is one shot, kill it. Like, we can't be doing this multiple times. And like, you know, I think that was the main thing too. Like, not only him bringing up my vision again, but also him bringing up the fact that, like, if God forbid, I didn't get to where I needed to be the first time because I went with VSG and was in a position where I needed to have my sleeve converted to a bypass. He's like, it's not like, you know, you can wake up in that position and then the next day I can see you, or the next week I can see you. Like, you're going to have to go through this whole process again, which is going to be another series of months, which is another chunk of time that you may not have. Like, I may not be as lucky as I was this time to find it so early and to be able to, you know, be on my medication and like have that work in the way that it should and all those things. So long story short, I had gastric bypass. I did not have vertical sleeve gastrectomy. Sleeve people, I encourage you to stay and continue to watch anyway, just because a lot of times our stories are very similar, so you're still gonna get a lot of the same experiences with the procedure you choose to go with. If you're a bypass person, welcome. If you're on the fence and you don't know if you want sleeve or bypass, well, now you can listen to my experience with a gastric bypass. Because to be honest, that's another reason why I was leaning more sleeve, is because when I was trying to research the bypass, I didn't find many people on YouTube, at least, that had the bypass. And the ones that did, I'm not gonna name any names, but I didn't like what I heard, so it only further pushed me towards the sleeve. So hopefully, I don't know, we'll see how this goes. I'm going through it now, so I don't really know how it's gonna go. But hopefully my story will make you more comfortable with the idea of the bypass if your surgeon is also pushing you towards bypass, and you know, whatever your situation is, that he or she feels that's what's better for you. But anyway, that's that update. Also, I have notes down here on my laptop, so if I'm looking down, that's what I'm looking at. But I'll try to keep it short and sweet on that. Okay, stats. Yes, because that's usually where people start, but I need to give you guys that update. So, my highest weight at the beginning of this journey, when this even became a conversation, i.e. around the beginning of June, I was 325 pounds. That is my highest weight in life as well, not just highest weight of this journey, that's highest weight in life. Yay, quarantine. Also, my weight at surgery was 311 pounds. So we lost about 14, 15 pounds there. My weigh-in 1 week post-surgery, which was yesterday, September 29th, is 300 even. So we lost 11 pounds in a week, which is like mind-blowing to me, because I thought I was doing something with my little 15, 14, you know, getting ready for surgery, meeting that goal set by the surgeon. But yeah, I lost 11 pounds in 7 days. That's lit. So the total loss, because people like to know that, obviously from the beginning, would be 25 pounds. Simple math, yeah. In addition to that, I took my measurements. I'm not sure if that's necessarily something that I'm gonna keep up with, but watching other people's stories, I know that they get to a point where there are stalls that come into play, and they're like, oh, like I'm losing inches even though the scale's not moving, and blah, 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 and that might be interesting to know. Also, there's certain parts of my body that I would like to know. So my waist measurement, and I'm not good at this, so I don't know how accurate this is, but I tried. So we got a ballpark, but my waist measurement is 52 inches, I think. My calf measurement, random, is 20 and a half inches around, and my bicep, mind you ain't none in here but jelly, is 19 inches. So yeah, so I'll be keeping track of those three, because that's what I wanted to know the most, mainly my calf, because I got big calves, and like before that was like, yeah, I got big calves, my legs are so strong, but now it's like these are a little too big. But anyway, so I want to keep up with that for myself. I don't know if I'll include the measurements in every video, because I mean, you guys can let me know if that's information you care to know, but I'm throwing it in there now because I did take the information. Okay. Recap of the whole week. So first of all, it took me a minute to film this video because I was not feeling it. Which hopefully you guys can forgive me for this being a kind of late upload. But I wasn't feeling it. I don't think I mentally prepared enough for the pain of the surgery. I was telling the hospital staff, I was like, you know, I always prided myself on what I thought was a high pain tolerance. But this surgery, this humbled me real quick. And I like legit told my nurse that, like, mind you, like hopped up on freaking painkillers. And I'm like, I think the first thing I said, I remember waking up and there was like 3 people in my face. I don't remember who I remember one of them was my friend Jen, but they were just like, how do you feel? And I'm like, terrible. Like, I wasn't crying or anything, but I was just like sore, you know, and just like hurting, but like I could talk. So, you know, be prepared for that. I apparently was not. I mean, I've never really had surgery before other than like having my tonsils out, and that was pretty rough, but I also feel like I handled that well. So I was just like, oh, like maybe this will be like that. I'm like, as long as y'all knocking me out and then you got something for me to deal with it after the fact when I'm awake, I'll be fine. But this surgery was like, nah sis, you gonna feel this. So like I said, that's what happened. So yeah, I've been in pain. It obviously, don't get me wrong, it has gotten better as the week progressed. So now it's like isolated to one side, which you'll hear a lot watching other people's stories as well. But watching VSG patients, they say it's because that's the side that they pulled the rest of the stomach out. But considering I didn't have anything pulled out of me, I think that's why I was so thrown off with the pain, because I'm like, why does it still hurt this bad? Like, this is what I imagine if I had gotten VSG. So I don't know what the deal is with that, but I'm alive. They do give you painkillers. I was taking them like round the clock while I was in the hospital for those couple of days. But once I came home, because they only give me a limited amount, I made sure to try to like thug it out and not take them, but I do have them if I absolutely need them. The only times, it's on my left side, the only times it really bothers me is like getting up. Like, so if I'm laying down or sitting down and I go to get up, like I can feel that. And also weirdly, when it used to be when I laugh, now this late in the week, well, the end of the week, I can laugh and it doesn't hurt that bad. But when I sneeze, boy, it is terrible. I like seriously be holding the left side of my stomach like, oh my God, please don't rip. Because sorry to be graphic, but that's exactly what it feels like. It feels like I'm gonna rip when I sneeze. But hopefully that'll get better with time. Yeah, I'm sure it will get better with time. Next thing, the 60-60 in my case. I don't know if that's standard across the board, but in my case, the 60-60. So 60 grams of protein and 60 ounces of fluid every day. That's my goal. That's what they want me to hit. Harder than I thought. I mean, that's what they all say. You got to keep on top of it, blah, blah, blah. You know, I can get down a protein shake. I still don't love protein shakes post-op, so that's what makes it hard for me. Because realistically, if you wanted to just make sure that you got that, like drink 2 protein shakes, 2 Premiers is 30 grams each of protein, and that's your 60. But it's hard. And you being on this liquid diet for however long, whatever your program calls for, mine calls for, I believe it's 2 weeks. So I have 1 more week of liquid, all goes well. It's hard to really be like, more protein. It's just not. Like, people say find one that you like. I don't know if I found one or not, if that one exists, just off the simple fact that it doesn't matter the flavor, it doesn't matter the brand. I can always taste the protein under whatever flavor they try to call it. So that's that on that. But you got to do what you got to do. So definitely I recommend getting that first one in as your first 30 out the way, and then you can decide how to approach the other 30, whether you need to resort to having another shake, or if you want to utilize your yogurts, your broth. I don't know if you get anything out of broth, but I'm sure you do. You know, other creative ways. That's up to you. Liquids, super important, and no, thankfully thus far I have not allowed myself to get dehydrated, but it is something that you need to be mindful of. Like, I noticed that if I don't keep a full bottle of liquid, hours can go by where I won't drink because it's not readily available to me, you know? So I think just to set yourself up for success, like I said, make sure that you keep a bottle close by, whether that be water, Gatorade, whatever. Yes, your protein shakes count. Yes, your broth counts, but that's only so much. That's 10 ounces each usually. So keep a bottle with you, moral of the story. Okay. Random cravings after. So, do you feel hungry after surgery? No, I don't feel hungry. But I want to say 2 or 3 days into my liquid diet, I was craving the most random things. Although I will say it also happened like surgery day when I woke up too. I randomly was craving like bell peppers, which I'm like, who craves just bell pepper? Like, I legit wanted to just bite into a bell pepper, random. But I made it through. Like, I knew that had to be some random stuff, some random mental stuff. So I made it through that. But a couple days later, boy, when I was home, well, I went to my mom's house, and of course all of them are eating regular, which is fine. I don't fault them for that. But, or like just watching TV with the commercials, I think that's what it is. It's just mental, honestly. But I'm just like, damn, I would kill for some french fries. Or like, I'm gonna go by and I'll be like, oh, so Chipotle sounds so good right now. Or, you know, all these different things. But you just have to put it out of your mind. If you can help not watching food commercials, that will help you stay away from the food channel. If you like Chopped and all that, MasterChef, don't watch none of that stuff until you get this down, because it will potentially break you. Okay, so now why some of you might be here, because I made a post earlier in the week about a mistake that I made, and I mentioned I would tell the story in this video. So, as I said, the cravings, they were happening, and weirdly enough, I don't know if I'm just weak or what the case may be, but it was around day 3, and I wanted to chew something. I couldn't get rid of that feeling. Like, I don't care. Like, I was saying, you know, I'm craving this, I'm craving that, I'm craving this, I'm craving that. But it got to the point, I didn't even care if it was those things specifically. I just wanted to be able to put something in my mouth and chew it before I swallowed it. So I got my hands on some tuna, because I was thinking, I was like, well, the next stage, when they start saying you can have food, some of the first things are usually eggs and tuna fish, like tuna salad. So then I'm like, well, I'm not gonna cook up a whole egg just in case this doesn't work. And I had one of those little tuna packets. So I'm like, would it be terrible if I had a couple bites of tuna? Like, they say it'll hurt, but like, they're just saying that. They just want you to do things a certain way, but it can't be as bad as they're making it sound, right? Right? You feel me? I know you feel me. So, open up the little pouch, put my little mayonnaise in there, a little mustard, my personal taste. I know that's not for everybody. Did that, mix, and took a bite. Waited a couple seconds, and I chewed it up. even further, because you know tuna is tiny, but I chewed it up further just in case. Swallow. Wait a couple seconds. Nothing happened. Took another bite. Chewed it up. Swallow. Wait a couple seconds. Nothing happened. So I'm like, all right, we lit. We out here. I'm about to eat this whole... I was so excited. I was like, I'm about to eat this whole pack of tuna. So I proceeded and I stopped waiting those few seconds. And literally it only took that third bite. Chewed it up, swallow. Bruh. My stomach. That was my stomach noise. And I was like, oh, I think and so of course I stopped. You're not gonna keep eating at that point, and I'm waiting. And I just felt, it was like an earthquake in my little belly, in my little tummy. And I'm like, damn it. So I gave the rest of the tuna to my cat. She was happy. She was begging for it already anyway. So I gave it to her. And I went through it. What I said, I went through it. I had to go get in the bed. I was in the fetal position. I couldn't breathe. Well, I don't know if you know, because I don't know if you've had your procedure yet, but after your procedure, they talk about your breath being shallow, and that's when you see people breathe into the little contraption and it measures how deep their breath is. I started basically needing that thing again, and I was like, and I couldn't breathe, and my stomach was hurting. It was just terrible. Terrible. Worst decision ever. Just fail. Would not recommend. 0 out of 10. So especially for some damn tuna, like it wasn't even something good. It was just tuna. So then you're just really like, wow, you're an idiot. So, yeah, that happened. So I just laid in bed and had to ride that wave. I didn't vomit or the other stuff, but it was just real uncomfortable. So I just laid in bed holding my belly and trying to breathe, trying to keep breathing, because that's what I felt like. I felt like I couldn't breathe, and people talk about someone sitting on your chest. It felt like it was sitting right there, and you want to throw it up. You feel nauseous, like you want to throw up, but it's too far down your throat to actually spit it up without, like, which I can't do that. So yeah, I had to thug it out. It was pretty rough. Don't be like me. Follow the directions from the beginning. But if you are like me, hey, you're gonna learn the hard way, I guess. Many people do. I've seen some videos on here when I was pre-op of people having a similar story of like, oh, I just wanted a little piece and blah, blah, blah. And when I watched those videos, I just shook my head and I'm like, y'all aren't serious. Y'all aren't taking this serious, blah, blah. But when you in that position, it's completely different. Completely different. So I'm just gonna say negative 100 out of 10 would not recommend. If you do it anyway, is your business. And please feel free to come back and tell me how you felt after, because I would love to see those stories. Well, but I'm not encouraging you. Like, please don't do that. Anyway, yeah, so that's it as far as the updates that I have for this week. With that tuna debacle, of course, I am redisciplined because I don't ever want to feel like that again. And re-inspired with my weight loss for the first week. Hey! So I'm sticking to my liquids. I'm not trying to sneak no solids. It's only one more week I gotta get through, and hopefully I'll be approved to move forward. Even then, I'm gonna proceed with caution now that I know what that feels like. And I will have a further update for you guys next week. Thanks for coming. Bye.